Welcome back to The Real Story. Today's next topic brings us to a major story regarding the Department of Justice. It's been a very busy week for the agency, and things just got a whole lot busier, as Attorney General Pam Bondi has filed a lawsuit against the city of New York and its mayor over the Big Apple sanctuary city policies. That coming down on Thursday. Now, AG Bondi issued a statement about this groundbreaking move on X, writing this: "The Department of Justice is suing New York City and Mayor Eric Adams for continuing to obstruct law enforcement with sanctuary city policies. If New York's leaders won't step up to protect their citizens, we will." Point made. And to that point, sanctuary city policies shield illegal immigrants from any kind of federal immigration enforcement, even when they commit crimes, even when they commit violent crimes. In fact, officials within the Trump administration have said these policies are directly responsible for the recent shooting of an off-duty CBP officer in a Manhattan park, because the culprit involved is a man from the Dominican Republic who entered the U.S. illegally in 2023 under the watch of Joe Biden. Now, that suspect's accomplice also turned out to be an illegal immigrant from also the Dominican Republic. And both of these heinous individuals have extensive criminal histories. On top of it all, the city had previously released both men multiple times and refused to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement officials, putting New Yorkers, such as the aforementioned CBP agent, in direct danger. So what exactly is the key takeaway here? Very simply put, that sanctuary city policies have meant putting the protection of illegal immigrants over the public safety of American citizens and taxpayers. So now the more important question is, what has the city's mayor said about this new lawsuit? Well, Eric Adams, who's in a major fight right now to be re-elected in November, responded to it shortly after it was filed, writing in part, "Keeping New Yorkers safe also means making sure they feel safe. And we have been clear, no one should be afraid to dial 911, send their kids to school, or go to the hospital. And no New Yorker should feel forced to hide in the shadows. That's why we support the essence of the local laws put in place by the city council. But I have also been clear they go too far when it comes to dealing with those violent criminals on our streets, and have urged the council to re-examine them to ensure we can effectively work with the federal government to make our city safer. So far, the council has refused. We will review the lawsuit." So it sounds like he's promptly passing the blame. But in any case, this lawsuit comes amidst a wave of similar legal challenges in many other cities. And the end goal is abundantly clear: put an end to reckless policymaking. So here with reaction is Angie Wong, a Miami Republican committeewoman and chair of the Capitol Hill Fight Club PAC. Angie, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So as someone from Queens, I want to get your thoughts about this new lawsuit against Mayor Eric Adams and the city.
Yeah, no, this is the very first step the DOJ has to take on a pathway to getting this looked at by SCOTUS, by our Supreme Court. And I think that's what this is all about. And it's also wrapped up in a lot of New York City politics. In November, we have a very important mayoral race, and it's looking more and more likely that Eric Adams may not make it, but Zohran Mamdani, the anti-police candidate, is likely going to make it. He's so confident that he recently took a trip to Africa. No candidate in the middle of an election or a campaign takes off and leaves the district, but he does. So I think the numbers are showing that he is the favorite to win. And I think this is Trump's administration and also the DOJ taking the preemptive steps to saying, hey, if you guys don't play fair and make it safe for people to live in cities like New York, and you're going to let these sanctuary city policies take over the streets of New York, then we're going to have to step in. Because what SCOTUS is going to always declare is that there is federal supremacy over local laws, especially when it is in direct conflict with immigration laws, with national security laws. Those things will always trump whatever a city council or a mayor says.
Do you find it surprising, after everything we saw with migrant crime in the last 4 years, and what we continue to see, especially in that Manhattan park very recently, do you find it just a little surprising that someone like Eric Adams, of all people, is still standing by sanctuary city policies at all?
I'm actually surprised that Eric Adams and Trump don't align on this. I thought they were friends. I thought he was invited to the White House for tea. So it is a break in that. But clearly, Trump is looking at the landscape of the mayoral race going, I don't think Eric Adams is going to make it. I've seen some polls already. He's barely pulling double digits, and the other candidates are not faring better. The only one who keeps sticking out is Mondani, and he's preparing for a possible win there. And if that's the case, and Trump has to step in with the federal government, well, how is he going to do that? He could declare national emergency. He could bring on the Stafford Act, the Insurrection Act, and this latest episode with the Border Patrol off-duty officer getting shot in the face, no less, by illegals. That does kind of set off, a pathway for legal wins and declaring some of these emergency acts. So Trump is letting everyone know, I don't care who wins. Well, I'm sure he cares who wins the mayoral race, but whoever does, you better step it up because it's not safe in New York City's. And one more thing to add, this one case could branch out nationwide to other sanctuary cities. So they're all being put on notice.
I really do hope so. And that case with the CBP agent who was off duty, the thing that really just gets my goat, Angie, is that these people, these Dominicans, had been previously released multiple times, criminal extensive histories, and they just get away with it. They're walking around scot-free. And how many other people like them do we have roaming the streets of America's cities right now? And why is that okay? And why is patrolling that a partisan issue? I mean, border security used to be bipartisan. Bill Clinton deported people. George Bush deported people. Barack Obama deported people. But now all of a sudden, it's an extremely partisan hot-button issue, and I do not understand why. And I want to get your thoughts about why it's become partisan and what we can do to fix that, because that is a massive problem, and ultimately this is about national security. So I just don't understand, Angie, and I want you to clarify that for me.
It's just talking points from two different parties, right? I mean, Tom Holman cannot deport enough people out of here, especially the criminals that are roaming the streets in sanctuary cities. And he's doing a fantastic job, but he's one man. And I know he's got a great team. But you were talking about millions of people here. Not all of them are criminals, but they didn't come in the right way. So in essence, they are criminals because they crossed over illegally. Right. So right now, what we have is a Democratic Party that doesn't have any real pathway of winning. They don't have a good messaging. They don't really have clear leaders either. So what they do have is, Trump is bad, and he's going to deport your grandfather, your grandmother, your uncle, everybody. And he's, and they're making a big show of it, especially in Latino communities where I am here in Miami. There's ICE buses, ICE deportation buses, and raids happening all the time, and there's this constant fear, hoping, and this is the classic Democratic way, hoping to fear you to vote for them because what, they're going to provide safety for you? Clearly not, because we see what they're doing in these cities, but they're going to scare you to not voting Republican. That's their only pathway to 2026.
Well said, and I think that's Mamdani's play because he's leaning into the anti-Trumpism. If you go on his campaign website and look at his policy platform, he says he wants to Trump-proof the Big Apple, and he's fully behind sanctuary city policies. So that's just one reason why I think this Zohran Mamdani guy is extremely dangerous. It's not about his, racial background or anything to do with his culture. It's about his values and the policies that he represents, which I think will destroy the Big Apple. So, final question for you, because I really want to understand. Do you really think at this point in the race, Mamdani is probably going to win it? And if so, what do you think that will mean for New Yorkers?
Well, I can tell you we're still a few months out from November, and anything can happen, especially in New York City. I'm hearing that Cuomo's going to make some big waves. Right now, it's July. People are, like Mondani, is taking vacations in Africa. Not a lot of people are paying attention to politics right now. They're probably on the beach enjoying barbecues. But come September, things will really heat up and anything can happen. And I think that Trump is going to make something happen for sure, especially with these cases coming down the pipeline that really puts the question to New Yorkers. are you willing to give up your safety over this? And that's a real question for lots of Democrats who are not comfortable with this candidate, but at the same time, they don't want to vote for a Republican or an independent. And they're just so, their brains are so cross-wired at this point. But whoever wins that messaging is going to win the election. And right now, the polls are saying Mamdani is probably the favorite to win.
The only person who's close in the polls, even remotely, is Andrew Cuomo, which is just, it's kind of unbelievable to me. Not a fan for so many reasons, Angie, but even I would take Cuomo over this Mamdani clown. So we'll have to see what happens, because you're right. There is a lot of time between now and November, but it's just, at this point, it's a matter of survival, really more so than anything else. So I'm just going to stay patient and keep my fingers crossed, and I really hope that people turn out for Adams, Cuomo, Curtis Lewa. Any one of them would be so much better than Mamdani. So I'm just really hoping for that. And in the meantime, I want to say thank you for stopping by today, Angie.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up next, President Trump orders a crackdown on homeless encampments nationwide. More details about it after the break.